Assalamu alaikum, my dear Kiwis. How are you all? How's your health? Well, I hope you are all fine and you are in the best of your health. My dear kids, as you all know that the lesson which we are learning about is plant reproduction and agriculture, isn't it? Today we are continuing with the same topic. In the last classes, we learned about the dispersal methods. We learned about the reproduction from different parts of a plant, isn't it? In the last videos, we learned about these things. Now, today we are going to learn about the crops and agriculture. Crops and agriculture, okay? My dear kids, as you all know that the plants which we grow are either meant for obtaining food or fiber or medicine, or they have some other purposes, isn't it? They fulfill other human needs, other human requirements. So what is basically a crop? A crop is a plant which is grown in a large quantity for some purpose, for obtaining food or for getting fiber or for medicinal purpose. Got it? So that plant is known as the crop. So when a plant is grown in a large quantity for food, fiber, medicine and other human needs, it is called a crop. So what is crop? Crop, when a plant is grown in a large quantity for food, fiber, medicines and other human needs, it is called a crop. As you all know that we grow different types of crops in a soil, isn't it? Depending upon the climate and the seasons, different kinds of crops are grown. Like we grow a rice crop, isn't it? What is that meant for? That is meant for getting the food, isn't it? For obtaining food, isn't it? Wheat, barley, these are other crops which are sown. Cotton plants are sown in order to get cotton from those plants, isn't it? So when a plant is grown in a large quantity for some purpose, for human needs, for human requirements, so that is known as the crop. That is called a crop. Crops, they are not only sown as per the season or as per the climate, they are also sown as per the soil conditions. The soil which is fit for one crop, that may not be fit for another crop, isn't it? So different crops, they are grown in different kinds of soils. Like there is a sandy soil, there is a loamy soil, isn't it? There is a clayey soil. So different soil requirements are for different crops. Like rice is there. Rice is a crop which is grown in a clay soil. Rice is a crop which is grown in a clay soil. Why? Because rice is a crop which needs a lot of water. So clay soil that holds a lot of water, that is why rice is sown in that very type of soil. In the same way, jute that doesn't grow in a clay soil, that grows in a loamy soil. That kind of soil, loamy soil, that can hold both air and water well. So jute, that is grown in a loamy soil, isn't it? Millet is there, which is a crop that is grown in sandy soil. So different kinds of crops, they are grown in different kinds of soils, isn't it? One crop that requires one kind of soil and is grown in that particular kind of soil, isn't it? In the same way, tea plants, they are grown on the slopes of hills. Tea plants, they are grown on the slopes of hills because they need that kind of soil for growth. So different crops, they are grown in different kinds of soils and as per the climatic conditions. Got it? One crop may grow well in some kind of climate, in a particular kind of climate, and the other crop may not grow well in that kind of climate. Like rice needs hot climatic conditions, not very hot but mild hot. So and on the other hand, the crops like cotton, they need more hot climatic conditions. So different crops, they are grown at different places as per the need of the soil and as per the climatic conditions which are favorable for the growth of the crops. Got it? So my dear kids, now this practice of growing crops or this practice of sowing the plants or farming, that is known as the agriculture. This science or this practice of growing the crops or sowing the plants is known as what? Agriculture. So what is agriculture? Agriculture is the science of practice of growing crops or farming. Agriculture is what? The science of practice of growing crops or farming. Like floriculture. Floriculture, that deals with the science of flowers, isn't it? Science of growing the flowers. Horticulture, that deals with the science of growing vegetables. In the same way, agriculture, that is the science of growing crops. Got it? Sericulture. Sericulture, that deals with the silk animals, isn't it? Silkworms, that deals with the rearing and growth of these silkworms and then obtaining the silk from them. So there are pisciculture. Pisciculture is related with the rearing of fishes. So there are different kinds of sciences, there are different branches of sciences which deal with different fields. So agriculture is that kind of science, that kind of branch of a science which deals with the growing of crops. Got it? Now, my dear kids, there are different kinds of crops. As I told you that crops, they are grown as per the need of the soil, as per the availability of the soil and as per the climatic conditions. So in India, two different kinds of crops are grown. One is known as the Kharif and second is known as the Rabi. These are the two kinds of crops which are grown in India. Kharif, that is also known as the monsoon crop because that is grown between the months of May and October. Got it? Kharif crops, they are sown between the months of May and October. Rabi crops, they are also known as the winter crops. These crops, they are sown between the months of November and April. Kharif crops, these are also known as monsoon crops. Rabi crops, these are also known as winter crops. Kharif crops, they are grown between the months of May and October, and Rabi crops, they are grown between the months of November and April. Got it? So these are the two different kinds of crops which are grown in India. Got it? Because in India, there are mainly two seasons for growing of these crops. Got it? Between May and October and between November and April. So these crops are accordingly named after the season in which they are grown. Kharif crops, they are grown in the monsoon season, and the Rabi crops, they are grown in the winter season. Got it? Now, some of the Kharif crops which are sown in India, they are the maize, paddy, millet, which is also known as bajra, okay? Cotton, jute, groundnut, soya beans. These are some of the Kharif crops. And the Rabi crops which are grown in India are wheat, gram, mustard, peas, barley and lentil. Got it? These are some of the Rabi crops. Got it? Very good. Now, my dear kids, we will learn that how healthy crops can be grown. How healthy crops can be grown. Now, my dear kids, the farmers, they also need to protect their crop and they also need to store that crop later after harvest, isn't it? So, what are the things from which the farmer needs to protect its crop? A farmer that has to protect the crop from grazing animals, from the insects like caterpillars, locusts, grasshoppers. These are the animals which feed on the crop and they destroy it. Got it? So a farmer that needs to protect its crop from these grazing animals and from the insects. These insects which harm the crop, like locusts, like grasshoppers, rats, weeds, they are known as the pests. What? They are known as the pests. So what are pests? Pests, they are the living things that harm the crop. These animals which harm the crop, the living things which harm the crop, they are known as the pests. What are they known as? The pests. So in order to protect the crops from being eaten by the animals or from being damaged by the pests, what a farmer does, he sprays pesticides, isn't it? He sprays pesticides. So what are pesticides? Pesticides, they are the chemicals which are used to get rid of pests. Pesticides, they are the chemicals which are used to get rid of the pests. Pesticides, they are the chemicals which are used to get rid of pests. Got it? First thing is this. Farmer also needs to protect the crop from rain, frost, and from other animals like squirrels, moles, and birds. These animals, they feed on the crops. So a farmer needs to protect its crop from these animals and birds also. And also from the rain, from the frost. Got it? So in order to get a better crop, in order to get a good harvest, farmer needs to protect its crop and it needs to store its crop well. Got it? In well conditions. And one more thing, that using of too much of these pesticides and fertilizers, they can be harmful for the crop. So a farmer, farmer must know that what quantity of this pesticides and these insecticides that should be sprayed. Got it? And also these pesticides and this insecticides, when they get washed away by the rain and then they add to the water pollution. So there should be a limited use of these pesticides and insecticides. Got it? And my dear kids, one more important thing, that it is an important thing which I need to tell you people, that when you buy the crops, when you buy the fruits and the vegetables from the market, once you bring them home, you should wash them thoroughly, because there are a lot of pesticides and insecticides sprayed on these fruits and vegetables. So you need to wash them thoroughly. Don't eat them without washing. You need to wash them thoroughly, then you should dry them and then consume these fruits and vegetables. Got it? So this was all about the crops and agriculture. Have you understood it well? Have you? Very good, very nice. So this was all about this plant reproduction and agriculture. With this, today's topic, this topic is complete, plant reproduction and agriculture. Now there is an activity for you, my dear kids. Activity is very simple. You need to write down in your scrapbook the reason that why we need to grow more and more plants. What is the need? What are the different reasons for which we need to grow more and more plants? Got it? Why we need to grow more and more trees, more and more plants. Got it? This is an activity for you. It's very simple. You need to get knowledge from the sources, like you can use internet with the help of your parents. You can search from internet, and you can also use other sources like books, etc., magazines. So you will get information, more and more information you will try to collect about this thing, that why we need to grow more and more. This was all about this topic of plant reproduction and agriculture. Inshallah we will meet again. Till then, take good care of yourselves. Fi amanillah.